Hey there, welcome to Red State Update. My name's Jackie Broles.
Folks, people, this is Dunlap. We have a special guest on today's Red State Update.
We don't have it. They're always special here because we don't have them very often. So every guest we've ever had is much more special than somebody that just has them on all the time, I'd say.
Yeah, we've talked to, how many different people we talked to? Three? Not counting just random people in the Ronald Reagan cafeteria.
Now, we talked to that
museum.
one man. He worked in the Ronald Reagan. He worked in the what was it, Wagon Wheels Reagan. But, yeah, we talked to him, liberal redneck. And now, happy to have Mr. Guy Lancaster. Is that Dr.
Guy Lancaster?
Yeah. I guess technically it's Dr. Jackie, though I get a bit self-conscious. People call me doctor.
Well, what would you like us to call you? We want to make you as comfortable as we can here.
Just Guy is fine.
Well, Dr. Guy, just out of curiosity, is your doctorate in Red State Update?
I think I've probably done enough work to get a second doctorate in Red State Update, but
I told you, Jackie, he was just going to come on here and demand money for all the work he did on the Wikipedia.
Yeah.
And we'll try to give you a little bit. We don't make a whole lot, but whatever we can do, we sure do appreciate it. Now, some of the listeners, if you're not familiar, I'm sure regular listeners, all of you do know who Guy Lancaster is. He's been a friend to Red State Update for a long time now. He's a gentleman that did such intricate, quality, down to the detail work on the Red State Update. What's it called? Wiki page? Wiki?
Mm-hmm. That's it.
Yeah. And it was all up there. They took it down. They put it somewhere else. But it's a lot of work, and we've had to use that as a reference.
Because we can't remember.
We can't remember nothing, so we have to look up what old Dr. Guy Lancaster had to say about it.
Well, it's a pleasure being here. How are you guys staying cool? Because it is like heat stroke weather here in Arkansas.
It's warm. It's definitely warm. Down in the bunker, I keep got pretty good airflow, but I've of course wet down paper towels and put it over there, keep a virus from getting in the air conditioner.
Jackie doesn't like to. That's saying a lot because Jackie doesn't like to reuse paper towel. He uses them over and over again. He'll use them, then he'll lay them out on the counter to dry. So the fact that he's using paper towels to stay cool tells you how hot it is.
It's hot. Yes, sir. It's hot.
But that's two reasons not to go outside, coronavirus and heat stroke.
Yeah. Though, the president says heat kills the coronavirus. You got to get that in the body somehow.
Maybe if you go out and have a heat stroke and you take the antibodies from your heat stroke and you mix them up with some household cleansers and you drink that somehow or have it injected the way he was talking, maybe that's the answer.
That's too complicated. I'm just going to wait.
My doctorate's not in medicine, so I'm not going to touch that.
Well, whatever you have to say about it, I'm sure it's much more, responsible and believable than anything the damn president's going to say. So
that's true. And I told Jackie that you wasn't a medical doctor, but he said he still had a bunch of ailments he's going to ask you about. So
we'll do that after we talk here. When I cut the recording thing off, I got a few things to ask you because I can't. The only way you can talk to a doctor now is on the computer.
Yeah. Well.
He had me take a bunch of photos, Guy, that I'm going to text you later. So when you start seeing them come in, that's what that is. It's not like Mars or nothing. It's just a few rashes and bumps.
Different spots, different breakout sort of things. But just whatever your opinion might be, I appreciate it. Thank you. But the reason we ain't having you on here for that, the reason we're having you on, we're going to try to shift here to get pretty damn serious because you wrote a pretty damn serious piece of work here. Now, you've done a couple of books, but the latest book is called Blood in Their Eyes, and it is about the Elaine Massacre of 1919. And Dunlap and myself, not too good at history, especially history of this nature, like a lot of white people, I'd say. So would you mind telling us again to make sure we have it right and our listeners what this book is about, sir?
Well, it's about a case of racial violence that happened in eastern Arkansas a little more than a century ago. And it really speaks to a lot of the things we have going on today, I think. See, in eastern Arkansas, that's cotton country down near the Mississippi River. And in 1919, cotton prices were pretty high, but the African-American laborers who are actually picking the cotton, they weren't getting a share of that profit, right? So a group of them decided to organize. They're going to form what was called the Progressive Farmers and Household Union of America. They were going to hire a Little Rock lawyer to represent them, sue plantation owners for a fair share of the cotton product, the profits. And anyhow, on September 30th, 1919, they were meeting in a church near the town of Elaine, which is, the Arkansas side of the Mississippi River, pretty far south of Memphis. And some white law enforcement shows up, and we don't know exactly what happens. All we know is that shots are exchanged between the two groups. Because this union, black farmers trying to form a union in eastern Arkansas in 1919, they stationed some armed guards. They were expecting trouble. And so these white law enforcement seem to have interrupted their meeting, maybe even attacked it. And they fired back because a lot of these guys, they had, served in World War I. They were, accustomed to weapons and also coming back from the war, kind of determined to stand up for their rights. Well, anyhow, that night, rumor goes out that a Negro insurrection is afoot, that all the black people in Phillips County are rising up to kill white people. The sheriff deputizes some American legionnaires, form a posse, word starts spreading. People are coming in from, counties over, armed white mobs and posses. Some of them are even paddling over from Mississippi.
Now, I read somewhere some Tennessee. There was a posse. Right. A posse was formed from Tennessee that came down. Yeah,
that's true. A group from Tennessee came down too. So you get all these lawless white mobs coming into Phillips County on the basis of these rumors. Meanwhile, the sheriff telegraphs the governor of Arkansas, a guy named Charles Bruff, and says, "You got to send in the military. We have an uprising here." So Bruff gets permission to send in some federal troops from Camp Pike, just north of Little Rock. He actually rides with the troops down to Helena, which is the county seat, and they walk to Elaine. Well, during this time and in the coming days, these white mobs are out murdering pretty indiscriminately. The American legionnaires, and there's some evidence that these federal troops are even engaging in killing African Americans. They round a whole lot up, and they, are holding them in Elaine. And there's a lot of evidence that they were torturing some of these people to get them to confess to planning an insurrection. So a lot of these people they confess to this. They're arrested. There are more than 100 arrested. And the next month they start holding these sham trials, right? These trials that, they maybe last 30 minutes or something. And that's, with jury selection involved. And so after the first 12, you get 12 death sentences handed down. And suddenly the rest see which way this is going, and they plead to lesser charges. But a whole lot of people end up in jail. And these 12 men in the coming years, it kind of becomes a cause célèbre for the NAACP and a lot of anti-lynching groups and whatnot, that they see the injustice that's been carried out here, You have, in particular, a black lawyer named Scipio Jones, an amazing man. He was born as a slave at the end of the Civil War, self-educated, became a teacher, became a lawyer. He's like the top black lawyer in Little Rock. He takes their case. He raises a lot of money for the defense. He's working with the NAACP. The case for 6 of these men eventually goes all the way to the Supreme Court. And in Moore v. Dempsey, a 1923 case, the court rules that, and this sounds kind of self-evident, the court had previously ruled in a case coming out of Georgia just a few years back that it didn't matter about the quality of the trial. You just had to go through the formality of a trial. That's enough to warrant a conviction. That was a case coming out of Georgia, a trial of Leo Frank, who was convicted. There were mobs surrounding the courthouse there, ready to lynch him if he wasn't convicted. And his case went to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court said, he at least had a trial. That's enough.
And he was black also?
No, he was a Jewish man. Mm. Yeah. So, that's what's really interesting. The court just a few years later, rules for these 6 black defendants saying, they didn't even have, sure, they had a formal trial, but it wasn't a real trial. It wasn't free of the mob mentality. And that was a real advance for jurisprudence in the whole United States. So that's a real quick summary of the case.
A lot of that doesn't sound too far from what is like the misinformed, heavily armed white mobs wandering around looking for the people coming to kill them in their tiny ass town that nobody cares about. That rang a bell. Yeah,
I mean, like Negro insurrection is the Antifa of a previous generation.
It's all very Fox News. It's all very very Fox News. So how many of the 12 were any of the 12 men, the original 12 men who got the death sentences, were any of them veterans from World War I?
Yes, a few of them were.
So do you think that the troops from the soldiers who came into town, what's your feeling? Do you think that they were firing, were they joining in on this, or were they protecting black people, or was it a little bit of both depending on the soldier?
I mean, they were sent in to, restore law and order. But as you can see from someone constantly tweeting law and order, that has certain racialized implications there.
Now, I heard some of the people thought that the military was actually arriving to help them, the African Americans, and it turns out obviously that was not the case. But I read somewhere that they were coming out thinking that they were actually there to help them, and it was the other way around.
Right. That's one of the stories that comes out of this, that they actually see the troop trains come in and they start running toward the trains thinking, here are our protectors, and the soldiers end up firing at them. So.
And a lot of these soldiers were firing on fellow soldiers then. I mean,
right.
But they had just served together in World War I.
But the military was still segregated at the time, so they may not have served right alongside them.
Right. Yeesh. So this was 1919, right? Is that?
Yeah.
So there was also a flu, right? The Spanish flu. There was a pandemic going on at this time. Was it in Arkansas at the time? Were people affected by it?
Right. Yeah. No, the flu hit Arkansas pretty hard. It hit Arkansas so hard. The state was actually supposed to vote on a new constitution in November 1918, and it was expected to pass, but so few people came out to vote because no one wanted to get the flu that went down in flames. But yeah, Arkansas was hit pretty hard, just like it is now with the coronavirus. So
this is eerie.
But I'm about to say, that's about sums it up. Eerie is a word right there. Yeah.
This is interesting to me too. When we knew we were going to have you on, I looked some of this up because I don't know shit. It is crazy also how I've never heard of this, before we heard from you. We're going to go in and go back and co-author the revised version of this, but that must also be, is this something people know about in Arkansas, or is it
not a whole lot? I mean, I still talk to people who are just finding out about this. It's ranked one of the worst cases of racial violence in the United States, but it happened in a little corner in eastern Arkansas, and the story is just kind of lain hidden for a pretty long time. And
we're not really sure of the exact amount of people that were murdered during this. It's definitely, there's thinking in the hundreds, but it could be far more than that possibility.
That's right. We just don't know. One of my co-authors, Brian Mitchell, he's done a pretty good job tracking down death certificates for some of these people, but a lot of them maybe have been buried without official death certificates. You go down there and talk to people in Elaine, talk to some of the African American residents, and they've got stories that have been handed down for generations of mass graves out in the swamps, and or maybe trains carrying bodies out. The death toll has not been determined. Most people think between 100 and 300, but there's, and until we find some of these mass graves, there's no real way to know.
Is there a way to find them? I mean, is there still, I don't know science real well, but how would you go about that if it's possible? And would there be somebody willing to try to do that?
Yeah. Is there support for that? Like the current governor in Arkansas, is he forward thinking on some of this stuff, or is that too much to ask?
He's forward thinking on a few things. When he came into office, one of his big things was actually separating Martin Luther King Day from Robert E. Lee Day. So, that's not bad.
It's a start.
It's a start.
Yeah. It's baby steps, as I say, I guess. Good Lord.
You know what? Maybe this ain't a good idea. This is Asa Hutchinson. Is that who's governor? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I mean, he has the name of somebody who might not even care. So,
right. He's been better than many of his other cohorts. He did this, long before the George Floyd protests. So, it was something he was kind of moved to do himself rather than being pressured to do. So, that's not bad. He's been okay on some of this, but part of it is, there's talk of using LiDAR, analyzing the ground, and maybe you can see where disturbances have been, and that's promising for perhaps they've used that to find other mass graves throughout the world. But this is Phillips County. This is cotton country. It has been farmed over to bits. And after 1919, you had the 1927 flood, and then a flood in 1937. The land has changed so much since the massacre happened. It has some challenges trying to find these possible locations.
I hear, yeah.
Did they? Was there anything? Is there anything there now? Any kind of markers or?
Yeah, there's in Elaine. There's a group called the Elaine Legacy Center. It's like a community center doing teaching and activism and outreach. And in Helena, where the trial of the folks arrested had occurred, and where everything was kind of organized. The massacre was sort of organized, where the sheriff was deputizing everyone. They installed a marker there last year, and it's downtown. It's a nice work of art. It's not too far from the Confederate marker. It's still up there. So,
what is excuse me? Go ahead and finish.
No, go ahead, Jackie.
I was curious what the population of Elaine is today.
It's just a few hundred people. They don't even have a school there anymore.
Well, they better build one and get them kids in there before September, because the economy is never going to recover.
Yeah.
How did when you go and you because you've done a lot of work in these sort of racial atrocities.
Yeah.
So when you talk to people in the communities, or maybe white people in the communities or black people in the communities, what's the reception you get? Are people happy to talk about it? Do they want to leave things buried if they're not well known?
Like in the black community, there's a real willingness to talk about this now. In the white community, you hear, some people are still holding to the story that this was a planned insurrection. They were coming to kill all the white people in the county, and I don't see how you hold that. But there are also a lot of people who say, maybe this happened, but we're not going to get anywhere dredging all this history up. We need to let the past lie and move on.
Yeah.
And I always get a bit itchy, people saying that. I had talking to one guy, and this isn't connected to Elaine, but I was talking with one guy who, insisted that black people keep bringing up slavery. That was a long time ago. It's not relevant anymore. And the kicker of this was he was dressed in Confederate gray, ready to go on to a reenactment.
Wow.
His opinion on those matters probably don't. That's the last person I'd go to discuss something like this. And what it is, it's just white people are uncomfortable talking about these issues, and first and foremost, you should be. I'm uncomfortable. It's awful. It's a terrible history that we need to come to terms with. And there's a lot of white people who they don't want to be uncomfortable. They don't even want to wear a mask. Half of them right now with what's going on. That's it. That's white people are all about comfort, or certain sections of it is, as far as I'm concerned.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think a lot of people are seeing this. If you talk about this massacre, that sounds like it's white versus black. And if you're white, you're on the wrong side of this story, right? But there were white guys, this union hired a white lawyer named Ulysses Bratton, who was a big defender of civil rights in Arkansas. He was unpopular in some circles. There were other white lawyers involved in this. Like you go back to the Civil War, in Arkansas, the first meeting of the secession convention, ended up they didn't secede because there was a majority against it. They were only able to secede after the firing on Fort Sumter. Then it got enough votes, and there were still some shenanigans there. But large numbers of white Arkansans actually joined the Union forces, or other groups opposing the Confederacy. Arkansas, in terms of Confederate states, Arkansas was number 2 in sending troops to the Union. And do you know who number 1 was?
I sure do. It's Tennessee. That's one of the few things we can take a little pride in concerning the Civil War, as far as I'm concerned.
But that's one of the things is, I think some people are worried, well, if I'm white and you're telling this story, that impugns all of my ancestry, and so the blame accrues to all white people. Well, it doesn't. There were people who opposed slavery, people who opposed secession, people who opposed lynching. There was a group, the Association of Southern Women to Prevent Lynching, that was white Southern women fighting lynching. That we have a whole lot of ancestors that we can look back at with pride. You're not limited to just a bunch of rebel flag waving yahoos.
Yeah, it's not about black and white. To me, it's about, in these situations, people want to break it down to that, but it's right and wrong, and there's plenty of wrong white people at the time. But thank God we had the few people that knew this was terrible and wrong. It always has been people like that. But the history books, and you talk to someone just had a high school education, it's just a blanket over several, well, we used to have slaves, and then all of a sudden we knew it was bad and we didn't, and on and on. You don't get into these details, these things that we should know about, of people from the very beginning knew this was wrong and spent every day of their life trying to tell everyone around them that it was, doing the best they could to help, in this situation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Have you noticed? Oh, go ahead, Guy.
No, I was just going to say, find some of those people and put them in the Tennessee state capitol in place of Nathan Bedford Forrest.
Amen to that.
Have you noticed since the protests that, the work that you are doing is, aligned with this moment in history? Have you noticed that people's attitudes towards some of this have changed just recently? I don't know how much you've been able to do, since this is also during a devastating pandemic with no leadership. But
I know that's. But no, I've noticed, and it's strange, kind of having been on the outs for a little while, because no one wants to talk about racial violence, and suddenly everyone's discussing these past events, and it's a little dizzying, I'll say, but yeah, people are much more willing to discuss this now.
Well, we can't really talk about what's going on right now if we don't talk about these things. It's all of the same thing. We have to if we're going to talk about it, we got to talk about all of it. That's how I feel about it.
Yeah, me too.
One other thing about when I first read about this, and I read about the union, the Progressive Farmers and Household Union of America, my white brain just assumed that this was some sort of, white-founded lefty organization from, maybe from soldiers coming back from World War I or something. But Robert Hill, is that correct? He founded it from a black man from Elaine.
Well, he was from the neighboring county, but yeah, he was working there. He was, and a lot of the farmers, they were involved in the organizing too. It wasn't just some outsider coming in. They all held positions of leadership, and like I say, some of these men had been in the military. They knew how to organize. So.
Wow. That is, it's a crazy story. And the book is Blood in Their Eyes, the Elaine Massacre of 1919. It's by our guest, Dr. Guy Lancaster, and Griff Stockley, who wrote the original, and Brian K. Mitchell are your co-authors on it. And you can get that it's on sale. You can get this book on sale at University of Arkansas Press, which is I have this is where when you do an interview you should have that up and ready to go so you can tell people. We'll put up a link. But at the University of Arkansas Press, Blood in Their Eyes is the book. Oh, and also we should talk about the Encyclopedia of Arkansas, which is I was tooling around there some today. That is a great project that you work on, right? You run that whole thing?
I don't run it single-handedly. I'm the editor, so I kind of manage it. But yeah, it's a website produced by the Central Arkansas Library System, and it's just everything you could want to know about Arkansas. we've got everything. I mean, we've got plenty of racial violence, but we also have White Lightning.
Yeah.
Entry on White Lightning and Hal Needham, who directed Smokey and the Bandit. He spent some time in Arkansas in his youth. We got a lot of the hillbilly movies and whatnot. Entry on UFO abductions. So it's
I didn't get into
stuff, but
I didn't get into the U's.
Yeah.
I guess I need to read forward. Yeah, the White Lightning entry was the one I was going to bring up. It's pretty. Where is Benton, Arkansas? Is that outside of Little Rock?
Yeah, just
filmed White Lightning.
Little Rock. Mm-hmm.
Some of the stuff in that movie seems so much like something around here, where he's riding in that car down that green, past them fields, and everything's green. He's taking his shirt off. It seems like summertime. That's how I spend my summertimes, just taking my shirt off mostly.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, moonshine it, yeah, and being a snitch, just being a snitch. I like to snitch on people and moonshine and take my shirt off. That's pretty much my story. And
while we have an expert here on Arkansas, do you mind if I ask? I got to ask you this: Was Stroker Ace filmed in Arkansas?
No, it wasn't filmed in Arkansas, unfortunately. But directed by Hal Needham, who, again, we have an entry on him. So
where'd they make Stroker Ace in?
I don't know.
What, he's not an expert on everything.
Well, you got a doctor. I thought if it was doctor, you might know where it is. That's fine. I'll have to.
I'm sorry. I didn't know I'd be quizzed on filming locations for Stroker Ace, but
this is just Jackie trying to cut somebody down. The anti-intellectualism of Jackie Broles rears its ugly head again. Jackie can't stand somebody who knows something being on here. He's got to tear him down.
What? Oh. No, I didn't say all that. No, I just wanted to know where Stroker Ace was made. I didn't know where it was. I thought you might know. If you don't, fine. We'll see if we can find a guest to come on during the interview that does know.
Maybe we can get Charlie Daniels.
No.
Well, God, thanks for coming. Sorry, everybody. Sorry, Charlie Daniels family. Guy Lancaster, thanks for coming on. Thanks for doing all this. Not just writing Red State Update Wiki entries, but like this important work. We're seeing how important it is. More and more every day. So thanks for doing that.
Well, thanks for having me, and one day I'll get caught up on Red State Update Wiki stuff.
Oh, I'll feel real bad if you start doing that again.
When's that book coming out? And trust me, you need to write more important ones for a while. But just a ballpark figure when you think that the sponsor history of Red State Update.
Maybe we need to do a Kickstarter or something. Raise funding for it.
We got time these days. Maybe we'll talk about it.
That sounds like a plan. Yeah.
I tell you, it'll probably be out before the next Redneck Matinee.
No, wow.
Oh, look at that now. All right.
I need that $25 from you, Guy. I was going to let it slide, but I think you need to send us a check.
Thank you again, Guy Lancaster, for joining us. It's nice to finally hear your voice and talk to you.
I talk to him all the time.
Well, you did?
Oh, yeah, we're big buddies. He calls me up all the time. Says, hey, I'm just going to talk to you about, all this smart stuff, and I was going to get your opinion on it. And I just give him my opinion. I tell him what I think. I say, I'm not smart person like you who's written a lot of books, but I've got a certain instinct, and and then I'm pretty sure he writes everything I say down, and then we just kind of chew the fat. I mean, he really likes talking to me, so I'd say we're best friends.
When do you talk to him? I never seen you talk to him.
Middle of the night. He calls me up in the middle of the night. You up? I'd be like, oh, here comes Guy Lancaster again. We're just, we're pretty tight.
Well,
I mean, sometimes he says, should I call? I would hate for Jackie to find out we talk all the time. I don't want to hurt his feelings. And I say, oh, you know what? I will never tell him. You're right. People can misunderstand other people's friendship and see it as some sort of slight or insult, especially if they're insecure like Jackie is. So it's probably best if we just keep it between ourselves.
If you talk to him so much, if he calls you tonight, tell him thank you for joining us on here. If he calls you so much, you just have to speak for me, I suppose.
Wow, somebody's jealous.
Just
why don't you call him up? Why don't you call him up in the middle of the night? You're going to talk to Guy Lancaster so bad.
I don't have his phone number. I barely know how we got him on the computer to talk to him. I'm happy to call him if he wanted me to call him and check in on him every now and then. I'd be happy to do that. I try to do it every so often during, there's a pandemic going on, check on your loved ones and whatnot. I'd be happy to put him on that list and put him on the prayer list too.
I'm pretty sure if he wanted you to have his phone number, you'd done have it.
Well, all right.
Besides, he knows what would happen, Jackie, if you called him up in the middle of the night. We all know what would happen if you called us up in the middle of the night. This podcast is basically you calling listeners up in the middle of the night and railing on and on about what's his name? President Donald Trump.
Oh, hell.
His wife. Shake him up and watch him fizz, folks.
Why do you even? It was nice. It's awful a subject matter that we discussed with Guy Lancaster. It's nice to not talk about the president, excuse my language, dumbass.
He is just killing Americans right now. Again, we're supposed to be funny on this show. Sometimes it doesn't happen when we try to be funny. Also no go. And now a lot of times we just talk about how the president is killing Americans on purpose, I guess.
I can't see another reason for him to be doing what he's doing.
It's not great if he's killing them on accident. I mean, that's not something you want in the history books about you. Killed a lot on accident. Well, at least it was on accident.
Well, today, on top of killing them, now he's getting tired of us, knowing how many people he killed every day. So now they took all that, you can't even see that no more on the CDC. Used to go see the numbers. I'd check the number. What's Murfreesboro doing? What's Tennessee, Rutherford County doing? You look at the numbers. I don't, he got them now. I don't know what he's going to do with them.
Do you think hospitals really just going to send all their information to Trump? I mean, he doesn't look at information now. We learn this over and over again. Sometimes they show him stuff if they've got good enough pictures in it that they think they can keep his attention.
He doesn't do good with papers or pictures or anything. What he does good with is groceries. Just stack them on the desk. He's good at that. Put some canned food goods on there. He's in his element. He understands that. Selling a damn product. He can't sell this. That's easy to sell beans. He can't sell this pandemic the way he wants to.
He had a can of beans on the desk. The president did. Just put some beans up there. Put some beans on your desk. If you had elected the dumbest, most stereotypical hillbilly, a goddamn Snuffy Smith, crawl out of that log and go to Washington, sit there at the desk, there is less of a chance that he would have a can of beans on the desk. I guess I should have seen it coming. I should have seen that Trump would have just a can of beans out on the desk. He's not eating them like a hobo, but he might as well have just like had black bean sauce all around that terrible mouth of his, just dripping down onto his chins and his vaginal waddle, and he should have just been sitting there slurping that bean juice up, going, damn, it's good. But he doesn't talk like that. He wouldn't even know how to say that. These beans, beans, pretty. I like a lot of different kinds. We have friends in the bean business and the boats and the bikers and the beans. Like he couldn't even say, like Snuffy Smith would be like, "Ma, these beans is great. Tarnation needs a tasty." Remember Tarnation beans? They used to advertise them on the Grand Ole Opry all the time.
Tarnation beans, they was good.
Brought to you by Tarnation beans. Tarnation, they're tasty. Let it go, boys. Like that. Anybody, the dumbest, inbredest, you go out, you comb the swamps for the way we have been portrayed, find the dumbest stereotype and drag him, swear him in on a Supreme Court Bible. He would be a better president. He or she be a better president than what we got now. Bean can president.
Amen to that.
And he doesn't even want to sell the beans. You're right. Well, he's selling the. No, he knows it makes people mad. He can't sell anything. We know that. He just can use things to make people mad. Which
that's a whole White House. It's him and everybody around him, and that's all they do. It's not about trying to win, lose, true, false. It's just making people mad. What's his name wrote the thing about Dr. Fauci and put it in USA Today, and it was for no other reason than to just make people. I mean, why?
But Peter Navarro wrote an op-ed. I said Anthony Fauci has been wrong about. I also feel like if you don't like him, you call him Anthony. If you do like him, you call him Tony. I don't know which he prefers.
Doctor
Anthony Fauci he didn't call him doctor, has been wrong about everything I have interacted with him on, says Peter Navarro. Then he said the elevator was this way. It was the stairs. I said, how's that sandwich? He said, it's pretty good. I grabbed it and took a bite. It was shit. So Peter Navarro, USA Today, added a note to the Navarro op-ed knocking Fauci, said it did not meet their fact-checking standards. USA Today said that Peter Navarro's op-ed did not meet USA Today's standards. But it did make people mad. I mean, we're mad about it. It made people, I'm sure Anthony Fauci's like, what the fuck?
Hey, watch your mouth.
Who's happy is Trump and coronavirus. Beans, maybe. Beans is probably like, keep my name out your mouth. Imagine if you were Beans. Not like Goya brand beans, just beans in general.
What?
Like most of the foods associated with Trump are just Kentucky Fried Chicken, like a hamburger, a Coke, Adderall. But if you're a vegetable, you're like, well, at least one thing I don't have to worry about is being associated with Trump. Like beans are associated with a lot of stuff. Branding wise could be a problem. But up until now, they didn't have to worry about being associated with Donald Trump.
Almost 140,000 almost Americans dead, more than died in World War I, I think. And he's taking pictures with beans on his desk. I tell you, I want to get upset about it, but I don't give this man very much praise, but I will on this. Old Cuomo called him out on this. Cuomo, let's get after it. You know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah. Cuomo on CNN, not Cuomo, governor of New York.
No, his brother, yeah.
I saw that where he was like, this is bullshit.
Yeah.
I was like, I like this because it was short. Like, that's all I need of CNN Cuomo. He should be on TikTok, not CNN. Just 10 seconds of him showing up, going like, this son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Did you see what happened today? Actually, probably Probably we don't need an hour of that either. Maybe we should be on TikTok. Come to think of it.
However it works, but he told him mouth good. That's all. That's the best thing I ever seen him do.
Come on, seriously? Come on.
Yeah, that's about it. Yeah.
Beans. Rick Sanchez and my CNN Cuomo are the same. They're the same. I guess they're the same person. There's always somebody like that on CNN. Just somebody, come on. Somebody that embarrasses Anderson Cooper. So, yeah, coronavirus data. We're not going to know what that is. I guess the numbers all of a sudden are going to turn out to be a girl in a Hooters uniform. Will be what they'll be releasing to the public shortly. Schools are opening up soon, Jackie. School days, coronavirus, grandma's dead days. It's not good.
Why don't we and I've said it over and over again. I don't need to keep saying it, but good Lord. We know what you can do. I want schools open. Lord knows parents want schools open. Just do what the other countries did to get back to work and go to school. Just do that. Yes, we're going to have to, shut up just a little bit longer in wherever you're sitting, wherever you're at. But, I mean, ultimately, no, we ain't going to do it. Not going to do it.
It doesn't make people mad, Jackie. Saving people's lives. Like if you came out and led as the president and wore a mask and said, look, we're not going to get everything right, but here's what we're doing right now. Things could change. In a few months, they changed again. You're like, you know what? Our goal is to get kids back in school at the end of the summer so we can get everybody back to work and we can do our social distancing. We flatten the curve. Lots of things you could do. It's not going to make people mad. It makes some people mad.
Sure.
But most people would be like, all right, okay, I can get along with this. But that's not what they're about, making people mad and obviously, I guess, killing people. Kaylee McCaley said the science should not stand in the way of schools reopening. And then some people are quibbling and saying, well, she didn't. If you look at the larger context, she's saying the science is on their side, whatever. But basically, they've been saying that the whole time. So I don't know why it has to be an exact quote that we can't get mad at. I mean, they're trying to make us mad. I don't think they care which part we get mad at. Like, they shouldn't be mad at that. They should be mad at Governor of Georgia won't let cities say you have to wear masks.
Well, he gonna have to. Since we got no government, we got nobody in a position to lead the people or to give us any ideas that are somewhat good. Now corporations, businesses are going to have to do it on their own. So, yeah, now Walmart, you can't go in there without wearing a mask. Target, can't go in there without wearing a mask. CVS, can't go anywhere without wearing a mask, which means now there are more opportunities for Trump supporters to show their ear in and throw a fit on and let somebody on the telephone get it. We'll be seeing that for weeks now. Just more places for them to go and throw a damn fit for no reason.
There's not a lot of rules in Walmarts.
No.
They, I'd say, pride themselves on not many rules. Rolling back values, rolling back prices. Smiley face value. I don't know really all I know is that I've gone into Walmarts and taken plenty of naps on couches and children's beds. I just sit there on the floor making sandwiches, just grab a loaf of bread and some pimento cheese, just sit there all day, folding up little button sandwiches. Hey, what are you doing? Just looking at people as they pass me by. I'm just sitting on the floor of Walmart fucking eating some sandwiches. I'm going to walk the fuck out of here later.
Hey.
Walmart, there's no rules at Walmart. Even Walmart was like, shit, we got to get masks on these motherfuckers.
Hey, watch your mouth, but yeah.
What do you think this is, Dollar General? Put a mask on. You going uptown tonight, son. Put a mask on. You in Walmart now.
I think they did that yesterday, and there's already been at least one arrest that I know of in the news. Someone in Louisville threw a fit. So you'll see a lot more of that. I hope nobody gets shot. I really, that's the main thing. I don't want nobody.
How are they mad at in the store? Like, even if you hate whoever, I don't know, Democrats, whoever QAnon tells you to hate, Anthony Fauci, whatever you're mad at that's got you in a place that you're smashing into cars in a Walmart parking lot. Do you not give a shit about the damn employees? Like, why you gotta go in there and ruin their day? Like, if you don't believe in any of this shit, Walmart's telling you to wear a mask. Can't you just go in there and wear a mask and not start beef with the people, who work there, who you probably know? Like, why can't you just for 3 minutes in Walmart? No, you can't get in now, Walmart.
I know, it'll take a while. If it's Superstore, you're going to be in there for a good while. Look, put on the mask and raise holy hell. You can scream in those things. Sometimes you have to for someone to hear you. Put it on and raise hell every minute that then I have to wear this damn. You made me put this on, whatever it is. Go on and on and on. Scream in the mask. Throw a fit, but just put the damn thing on.
In idiot's defense, it is unbelievable. Nothing about this is believable. There is a pandemic, and the government has done nothing to help.
Nothing. Made it worse in a lot of ways.
Actively making it worse.
Yeah.
In America, the economy is not long for this world. People are unemployed. People trying to get back to work, but there is no plan for them to safely do that. None of this makes sense. Also, people are already idiots, so they're looking for conspiracies and stuff. But even if we weren't like that, a lot of this would blow people's fucking minds.
Hey.
Well, shit, they're trying to get me back into work, and there's no school. Single moms bear the brunt of a lot of this. I think a lot of times you think, well, maybe the mama can take off or the daddy can take off. A lot of times there's one person with these kids.
Your choice is to send your child to school and get to work or live in the street, get evicted. That's it.
They ain't sending you no more money yet, which doesn't make any sense because that seems like something Trump would want to do. They're very confused up there right now. They don't know what kind of Republicans they're Trump Republicans. They're terrible racists until they start talking about money and they back away from, well, we can't. Mitch McConnell can't send out no money to people. Between Mitch McConnell and Trump and Congress and administration, just everybody, they cover basically every kind of asshole you could imagine.
Yeah.
Are you racist? Are you racist against black people? Are you racist against Hispanic people? Who are you racist against? Well, trans people cannot serve in the services. We got to get rid of that. Also, we cannot give money to unemployed people. Wall Street, I'm just a Wall Street asshole. Give all the money to Wall Street. I don't care what y'all talking about. And then you got fucking Rand Paul. I'm just I'm going to be an asshole in ways you could never predict.
He got to be an original, excuse my language, asshole. I'm going to go my own way and be just as much, if not worse, a butthole than everybody else in here.
Just monsters, and they're all their own kind of monsters. They're like the universal monsters. It's not like two Frankensteins. Like there's a Frankenstein, there's a Bride of Frankenstein. They're completely different. They're similar. Probably the racism that keeps them close. Yeah. So, all right. Did we talk about Chuck Woolery yet, or should we just let that?
Well, dude,
the president retweeted Chuck Woolery.
Nobody should have to talk about Chuck Woolery. Nobody should. Nobody anywhere at any time needs to know. Remember what was that game show that he? I mean, even that's a dead end story. Who gives a damn? And the only other way you're talking about him is him being a damn, awful butthole like the rest of them. The president's going to make sure that we all know what's on Chuck Woolery's mind. I'm going to send Dr. Fauci out to the furthest regions of the media. Every podcast, he's everywhere except on any channel. We need to ask, how do we get him on here?
I think we just send him our interview with the Guy Lancaster. I don't know how to get a hold of him, though. That's the problem.
Oh, yeah. No, that's what he does now. We could probably get him, yeah.
He's walking all the time, right? I read he power walks. He's probably at the mall right now, just turning by Annie Ann's pretzels and just doing another lap. We just need to find out which mall.
I'd like to get him on here. I'll talk to him.
I mean, we know what he's going to say.
Well, yeah, everything. He says it everywhere, but, he needs to...
I'd like to hear it.
Yeah, I like to hear it, it's better than what the hell, But no, Chuck Woolery, I'm going to make sure every American knows about that. And we're pitiful because we're talking about it right now, but you're supposed to talk about the president. You're supposed to do your job. Every time, what's her name, Michaela McCaney, she has a press conference. I don't know why anybody shows up to that. There's no reason to show up to it, but for her to outrage you. That's it. So you're just helping her out. He can do it. He's going to make people mad on the Twitter twitters, on every news channel with her, USA Today. That's their job.
So the governor of Oklahoma, who went to the rally in Tulsa, has tested positive for coronavirus.
Oh, yeah, sure.
And Chuck Woolery's son, I believe, that was true, right? Tested positive for coronavirus.
I hadn't heard that, but if he's taken any of his father's advice...
It was right after, yeah.
Yeah, not surprising at all, no.
And Chuck Woolery's tweet wasn't even like, Trump's doing a great job. It was like, you can't believe anything. That's not the president. The president tweeted that. I don't know. You can't believe anything anybody says. That's not the opposite of leadership. It's worse. I mean, it's like what Iago would whisper to someone. Iago, Jackie.
Huh?
Iago?
Oh, little Iago, Star Wars.
Bob Hoskins.
Who?
What? I went into Redneck Matinee on watching them BBC Shakespeare's.
I tried. I don't. It don't get through to me. It's like another language. I won't appreciate it. I know I'm supposed to, but it's a waste of time for me to look at it.
Plus, Iago's smart. Trump's just dumb.
They don't come much dumber.
Trump wore a mask. He wore a mask to Walter Reed Hospital, and everybody was like, everybody on his staff had been like, looking good. How somebody's, been like your boss, real mad all the time. You're like, here he comes. What's happened to his hair? Just tell him it looks good. I'm sure that's how Trump got his hair in the first place. And so now he's wearing the mask, and everybody's like, damn, sexy.
All these GOP Republicans about the mask. Marco Rubio on Twitter just, for goodness sakes, everybody just put on a mask. This was, I think, yesterday. Now he's like, what have you been doing all this time? He's Florida, where they're where they're having to drive semi-trucks with coolers on it for bodies, right, as we speak. Florida. Yesterday, or got on today, whatever it was. You got to put on a mask. You should have said that.
He's probably been looking up mask in the Bible for several weeks.
Months and months ago. Just could have, yeah.
Just licking them fingers and turning them Bible pages, searching for a mask quote.
There's a lot of plagues in the Bible. I think Old Testament.
That's true.
They do a lot of that. I try not to look at him on any kind of computer, but
times when like a nation does something real shitty that's an affront to the Lord, it punishes them with the plague.
Yeah.
So, Jackie, Russia hackers, U.S., U.K., Canada, says that Russian hackers are trying to steal coronavirus vaccine research.
The hack breaking in the computer trying to steal all this stuff. Well, you know why they got to do that, don't you? Because if they could call up Trump and just ask him, but how you don't want him trying to tell you any of that stuff. It's going to be a bunch of gibberish. No, you got to work around that. Because Putin just call him up on the thing, like, they talk all the time, don't they?
The other Russian story is that Russian hackers are spreading misinformation about the coronavirus. It's hard. You post. I saw this story. I said, I'm going to put this up on Facebook, right? Rubbing anti-maskers' faces. And it's always Russia. I know what their response would be. It's always Russia.
Russia again. Yeah. Russia.
Do you not believe I can be this fucking idiotic on my own?
Hey.
No, it's got to be coming from Russia. I am dumb as fuck.
Hey.
I am intent on killing as many of my fellow citizens as possible. Do not insult me, good sir. I can do this on my own. Hard to say. It's not like they know how manipulated they've been.
But Russia did all the work getting them elected. As far as disinformation, that goes back to that, they sit back watching this and laughing their butts off. Although I hear Putin's having a little trouble now. He don't like it. I've been protesting over there. I don't think he's handling this pandemic good. I think the worst in the world is him, Brazil, us, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And I think India is having a tough time. And those are different countries and have different obstacles, they have to deal with, certainly. But
I mean, if they're having a lot of protests they need to deal with, they can just watch, TikTok videos from over here and see how you stuff somebody in a minivan in Portland. Or drag people off the state capitol in Nashville. There's lots of different things they can learn. America is people say, oh, America's pitied. Oh, America's no longer a leader. But in some ways we are. None of the good ones.
No.
Hey, speaking of terrible, the campaign, Trump, actually this is, I don't get a lot of joy these days, but when Trump gets mad, like those Supreme Court decisions about his income tax, it was like, what's he mad about? This doesn't sound great for us, but he's mad, so I'm just going to enjoy him being mad. So knowing that he's mad at his Brad Parscale, his campaign manager, who he just fired, is enjoyable.
All these people say you get what you deserve when you work. What they say, you lay down, dog get fleas. The one, I guess, who got the most fleas got his old Jeff Sessions.
He's kind of like a flea. He's kind of like a little Alabama racist flea. And so Jeff Sessions lost to Tommy Tuberville.
Yeah.
Which sounds like somebody from Green Acres. 60.7 to 39.3. I don't know why I put the points in there. It sounds worse somehow.
Not that Jeff Sessions has the power to legitimize anything, but at one time he was looked upon as a man who legitimized. He was the first, senator to come out and say, "Yeah, I like old Trump." He first one to get up there with him on stage. Go test it out, Jeff. See if it's all right. He came back. It's good. I met some Russians. I'm going to get to be Attorney General. Come on over. Hated by all now. He got nobody.
He'll wind up being a greeter at a Walmart telling people to put a mask on and wind up stuffed in a trash can. It's like high school.
Don't give nobody any ideas or anything, but that,
So they fired Brad Parscale. They hired new campaign manager Stepien, as in he's really Stepien it now. They blamed Brad Parscale for the Tulsa. I just like people working for Trump screwing up, making him mad, getting blamed, getting fired. It's the one thing I constantly never fails to put a smile on my face. It's this idiot who looks like he looks like he works at Applebee's but wants to be an MMA fighter, but has done no training.
Don't forget getting screamed at, getting fired now, and also getting sick. A lot of them end up,
Oh, you do. I'll often wind up sick. And I can't figure out. I guess he's hurt by it, which is even. How do you work for Trump for 4 or 5 years and then get fucking the shit knocked out of you, and then you're like, I can't believe he did that to me. What did you think was going to happen? You've seen it happen to literally everybody else you've ever worked with, and somehow your feelings got hurt. I mean, I would say that if you're a campaign manager and you can't see getting stabbed in the back and thrown overboard by Donald Trump, maybe your prediction game is not the best. I mean, he's the one that's got to go to Trump and be like, oh, no, don't listen to these polls. The boats and the bikers, much more accurate in predicting presidential elections than the polls.
When are they're hiding the numbers for the CDC. How much longer for they just hide? He going to sign an executive order to stop polls.
Yeah, no numbers at all. All numbers illegal.
Get rid of them. Less dollar bills. That's about it.
People going into Radio Shacks where they sell calculators. Like, God damn them, get this out of here. I can't look at this. People just mad at numbers going into banks. Fuck you.
Hey.
Wherever there's numbers, those are the only numbers. Maybe a place with a giant clock. I can't think of any place with numbers now. Chris Christie. So the new guy ran Chris Christie's. Worked with Chris Christie to do his campaign. He was involved in Bridgegate, which brought Chris Christie down, and somehow he survived and is wound up as the campaign manager for Trump. Has only seen betrayal. Surely this guy knows what's waiting for him, but maybe not. I don't know why they do it.
Why does anybody? First, we're down at the bottom of the barrel too for people who will go to work for him. I mean, anybody with any self-respect, slight tiny bit of decency within the soul ain't going to work for the. Plus, if you're just smart, you could look around the room. Like, hell, I ain't going to go work for him for a month and then him get mad at me and holler about something. I mean, yeah, especially right now. Now's the worst time to be hiring.
I guess he will screw you unless you go to jail for him. Now, he will betray you and talk about you and say he doesn't know you until you get into jail. But once you're in jail, if you're still loyal to him, he will pardon you, get you out of jail. He'll Roger Stone you. You can be the worst person in the world. And then he may still screw you. I mean, it's hard to say. But he might. If you go to jail and you don't think on him, there's a chance that you will get pardoned and then screwed, I guess.
Well, hell, I'm about to say you'd probably be safer in jail from him.
In jail, do they not?
They threw his other lawyer in there. The Cohen, that's his name, yeah.
Yeah. And they let him out and they had drug him back in because of coronavirus?
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought maybe you meant you're safer from him, like they don't show the news in jail.
Well, yeah, that too, yeah.
I mean, arrest me. I guess while we're here, we might as well just the campaign press rally he gave, the press conference campaign rally he gave, where is it even worth reading these quotes from him?
It's just nonsense. It's just the window thing. Everybody talking about that. Biden don't want windows and getting rid of windows. I mean, it's just. Why did they show up to that? Why'd you sit there through that?
Because they lured him in. They're like, we're going to talk about China and Hong Kong. Important world events. Everybody shows up, and then he's like, we have great agreements where when Biden and Barack Obama used to bring killers out, they would say, don't bring them back to our country. We don't want them. Well, we have to. We don't want them. They wouldn't take them. Now with us, they take them. Someday I'll tell you why. You know what? This isn't even because the way he said it, he took that pause. Someday I'll tell you why. It doesn't even. What's he say?
It's a really bad campaign because at the campaign at his rallies when he's doing this, he gets the joking and the hollering, gets everybody laughing. When he do it in front of he just mad. He just like just staring him like shoving it in your face. Just how long is it? An hour? He sat there and just went on. I think it was over a damn hour. Why do you go to this? Don't go to talk to him. Don't go to talk to Michaela, whatever her name is. They're just going to lie to your face. Why do you do it? Of course, we said this way back when Huckabee was doing it. Ain't nobody learned a damn thing.
No, we're just stuck in it. We're just doing the same thing over and over again. And things get something terrible come out. Oh, the damn Russia's paying. We just talked about Russia. Two different things about Russia. We didn't even mention that they were putting bounties on American soldiers.
I ain't heard a thing about it. I ain't heard a thing about it. That's just moved on.
They're just like, oh yeah, no, that didn't happen. Tammy Duckworth's the only one out there trying to do anything on that.
She don't have to worry about being called a coward like she give a damn one another. Old Tucker went on vacation. I don't know if you see that. Old Tucker Carlson went on vacation. Yeah, they always say their vacation has been long planned. Whenever they sexually harass someone or your head writer is a racist, it just happens to happen right there. On the same time, you're gonna go fishing or wherever the hell he going. Now, Bill O'Reilly never came back. He went on vacation. Remember?
I guess he found a really nice Airbnb. He don't want to check out. There's something Tucker Carlson running for president. That's a little more frightening to me than like Kanye West, because this whole time we've been like, why do Southerners like Trump? Why did they vote for him? The ultimate Yankee, rich boy, not what I thought anybody would. And then you got Tucker Carlson, same thing, loudmouth, just blow hard, pasty, puffy cheeked, confused,
the worst.
Eyes, they're just the worst. Wearing bow tie, he could win. I always thought that you'd have to have damn old like evil Andy Griffith or some kind of square-jawed ball player up there pretending to be like a George W. Bush.
Yeah.
I guess you need that now. Now you can just look like Tucker Carlson.
It's like every country song that we grew up loving lied to us. It's all lies.
I guess it's not so much if you look like George Strait. It's just you got to believe like Stephen Miller. I hope to God never puts out a country album.
Oh, good Lord, please.
That'd be the last straw for me.
Terrible news now that we're saying that on Rachel Maddow. What is his niece that wrote the book?
Yeah, Mary Trump.
Mary Trump.
Yeah.
that book come out. He tried to stop it, couldn't do it. Now she's on all the shows. But she went on up to Rachel Maddow, and of course it is news. I guess it should be news, but he used anti-Semitic language. She heard him, and she confirmed also she heard him say the N-word. And as horrible as that is, I don't think it's surprising at all, is it?
No, I mean, the surprising thing would be if he never had said it.
Oh, yeah.
If he was no, he forbade its use in front of him. He used to put me on his knee. He'd say, Mary, come here. I've made a lot of mistakes in this world. It's true. But one thing you will never hear me do is use the N-word. Or my name is not Donald J. Trump.
That's a shocking. I mean, that's a book that would what you can't. I gotta get my hands on that book. This is one hell of a good Lord.
But it wouldn't help him. Part of me was like, oh yeah, that'd probably help him. But it wouldn't help him because everybody who hates him would be like, bullshit. And then the racists would be like, fuck him.